Hello and welcome everyone to the third and final day of the Green Lit Fest. Today, as I like to call it, is the Eco Kidlit Party, and I'm so delighted to have all of you with me. I'm Megha and I curate the Children's and Youth program here at the Green Lit Fest. Before beginning the program, I would like to introduce the team that has made this festival possible. Can we please have the founding team banner? So this festival was the brainchild of Benedict Parmanand, who decided after 7 years of having the Bangalore Business Literature Festival that he wanted to go green and have a green literature festival as well. Apart from me, the team also comprises Pooja Bhula, who's done a fantastic job on the general fiction and non-fiction list, which was day 2. And Debarati, who does so many different things. I probably won't be able to put all of them down, but one of those things is also curating the fabulous business list. Apart from us, there's also Ganesh Kirti, an MC without whom the technical support for this day, and well, without Ganesh, the technical support for most of the festival would not have been possible. And Richa Chadda, who's been handling our social media for the last month or so. I would also like to now thank our advisors, Jairam Ramesh, Zai Vitika, Harini Nagendra, Radhika Suri, and Santosh Jairam for their valuable guidance. We are a new festival and it was really meaningful to get their inputs in putting this program together. So today we are gathered to discuss children's literature. And we tend to have a rather limited view of what is children's literature. So I'd urge all the participants who have joined us today to actually take a look at the books that have been longlisted and shortlisted by the festival, because really they give you the wide variety of books that people tend to bracket as children's literature, but really that can be an education for anyone beginning their journey to getting to know the natural world that we live in a little better. Also, I think it's become imperative living through these pandemic years that we better the relationship that we as human beings have with the natural world, and we shape better, wiser, greener minds, not just for a better today, but actually for a better tomorrow as well. And so green literature really is the need of the hour. And with that, I would like to begin today's program by inviting Neha Raghav from WWF-India, who is going to be giving a presentation on why green literature matters. Now, when we talk of WWF-India, it's always associated with wildlife conservation, but few people realize that WWF's footsteps into India began with its environment education program, and a legion of conservationists owe their journey in this field thanks to its, Nature Clubs of India movement. In the last few years, WWF India has done some fantastic work in bringing out some excellent books for children, green books for children. And Neha is going to be giving us a presentation on how one can build environmental stewardship through books. And I also just want to say that we're very sorry that Radhika Suri, the Director of Environment Education at WWF, couldn't be with us today because of some unfortunate personal reasons. We do miss her, but we know we'll see her next year. And Neha, over to you to do the honors. To everyone in the audience, Neha has a very interesting quiz right at the end of her presentation. So do continue to watch. Neha, over to you.
Thank you so much, Megha. Thank you for having me. Before I get started, I would really like to thank Megha and Benedict for being and Sustainability Next for being such amazing partners, and also congratulate them on coming up with a Green Lit Fest. We have heard of all sorts of literature festivals, but this was perhaps the much needed one. What I'm going to be talking about today is, of course, a little bit of my own journey, of getting into reading and environmental literature, and also about WWF India's vision, how it all started, and what do we aspire to do in the coming year with respect to green literature. So, my own journey with books, as an individual and as an educator has been pretty interesting, So if I'm to talk about myself, my only regret perhaps is that I did not start early enough. Okay, I may be that one odd kid, amongst my group who did not enjoy the likes of Famous Five and Nancy Drew, when I was really young. But what I really discovered early on in life was that I completely enjoyed writing short stories and writing poems while I was still in school. And of course, over a period of time, I began to realize and recognize, what I like to read, and what I enjoyed, getting into, and the kind of books I would like to pick up from a bookshelf of a bookstore. So that was myself, and that's how it kind of grew. It kind of it took its own time, but it kind of grew on me, and I, from reading the textbooks to reading fiction, non-fiction, and various genres that I started to enjoy over a period of time. But certainly, as an educator, my journey has been, has been pretty interesting, and lots of learning that kind of came my way, which I would like to share with all of you. And Yeah, so what is really interesting here is that I started to truly believe that reading for pleasure makes reading for learning an enjoyable experience for a child. It is as important as education, and key to all that is that the parents, educators, and the entire society takes it as a responsibility to ignite love for reading in the children. A child will always need someone to guide them into the right kind of books that can help them to graduate across levels of reading, and that too at their own pace. I think so, I am able to say that because I did not start early, and I feel that, I really needed somebody to guide me into it. And that's how, my experience as an educator has been such that, it always, made me encourage children to, pick up a variety of books to read, right? So just allow me to share the presentation and talk about environmental literature a little bit more. Books for me, they not only build perspectives, opinions, which of course will be based on facts once you begin reading, more and more, but also it opens up a whole new world to the children. So and then not just that, it also helps children to draw connections between what they learn in the school and what they see around them. Our environment indeed is one of the first influencers that we all have in our life, and nature is an integral part of it. It's easier to get children into reading when it is about things that they see around. They connect with it and begin to love. We have the legacy of our planet, as a great inspiration for all of us when we begin reading, writing, and along with that, there is also an urgent need for humanity to protect it. We don't see many green books on the shelves of the bookstores, that I visited, have ever visited, and that certainly needs a change. For that, and for very long, WWF India has been aspiring to grow this vertical, and we have been coming up with a variety of books. We have developed, quiz books, the Wild Wisdom quiz books. We have biodiversity publications, which are simple handouts that children can carry along when they are on a nature trail. These are simple, easy to, use handbooks. We've also come up with some really interesting picture books for children. We have a lot of activity books. We also have field guides that children can really enjoy, and while they are into nature, and then they can not just discover nature through them, but also connect with them. So here is what you see on the screen is different kinds of publications that we do. We come out with a fortnightly newsletter as well that children can read. If you want to subscribe, you can visit our digital resource center called One Planet Academy. Right, so all of this is freely available for children to access, and some of the books are listed on Amazon and a whole lot of other websites. Right, We also have a good list of books which is coming up very soon. We have a lovely book about Nilgiri Tars, and it's called Wally's Nilgiri Adventure, which is going to be out very soon. We have also come up with a book about a mystery of not missing plastic. We have we are coming up with the book on elephants in multiple languages. It's already out in English and Hindi, and very soon the Tamil version will also be available. So we are also trying to reach a wider audience, by getting into regional languages and various vernaculars. There are two really interesting books which we will be coming up with, and they are The Stamp of Nature. It's a book on philately, about various stamps on nature which have come out in partnership with the Postal Department. There is a very interesting book which will be out next year. It's called Genome Jaunts. It's about various genomic sequence that defines a particular animal or a particular feature in a specific species. It talks about clonal raider ants and all the wonderful species that you may learn about through different mediums. I have, we have been working very closely with teachers across the country, and we reached out to some of the teachers and asked them which book they would like to recommend. And we have little, AVs where they are recommending the books that they would want their children to read. So allow me to play this video and, listen to what our teachers have to say.
Hello, my dear students. Myself, Shivanjini Tyagi, and I'm a biology teacher in Kerala.
Just a moment. I am sharing the sound. Yeah.
Vidyalaya EAC Upper Shillong. As a nature lover and a book lover, I would love to recommend a book for my student which is named as Fascinating World of Animals and Insects by Padma Rajgopala. This book captured the imagination of children and create an awareness in them to strive to protect all animals and plants. And what I like most in this book, that this book describes without going into lengthy details interesting and fascinating facts about a variety of animals. Thank you and have a nice day.
Yeah, so we had a teacher from Shillong. We kind of work with teachers all across the country. Let us listen to another teacher from another part of the country.
I recommend you a book called Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. This book tells us about the powerful effect humans have on nature. It also documents about the environmentalist effect by the use of pesticides. As we know that when artificiality and humans interfere in the world of nature, it eventually collapses. So it is also rightly said that nature, when left alone, is perfectly balanced. Thank you. So I would recommend you to please go through this book. Thank you and have a nice day.
I'm sure you would all know about Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, one of the front runners when it comes to green literature. We also have a parent who had some thoughts on the kind of green books that their children should pick. So here it is.
Hello everyone. My daughter's name is Neera Hasani and my son's name is Aranya Niranjan. I wish when they grow up they start reading books like My Husband and Other Animals by Janaki Lennon and Voices in the Wilderness by Prerna Singh Bindra, Neha Sinha's Wild and Willful. And by reading these books, I hope they become ambassadors of not just animal conservation, but nature conservation at large. A big thank you to all the organizers of Greenlit Fest and best wishes to all those who will be attending the Greenlit Fest. Thank you.
Okay, not just the parents. We also have a few students who are sharing their favorite books and reading out some excerpts from the book. So let's listen to them.
What happens when you ask an ornithologist, a wildlife photographer, and a doctor duck? They will all perk up and ask, where? Which one? This is a joke shared in the book, The Great Indian Nature Trail with Uncle Bicky. It is written by Bijal Vacharajani and illustrated by Rohan Chakravarti. It is packed with information about nature, and it shares that with with many comics. And the people in the comics who are Uncle Bicky, who's an ornithologist, and his niece, who's Chunmun, and she's a wildlife photographer, and their dog Dugu. They go on many nature walks all around India. For example, in Karnataka, Sikkim, Uttar Pradesh, and many other places all over India. So each place has its own comic and has its own special animals which are either endangered or are exotic. And in the end of each comic, such as this, there are fun facts, and there are many activities given. For example, there's how to draw sloth bear here, and many facts. And sometimes there's also, if they're endangered, it shows about why they're endangered. So this is the book written by Rohan Chakravarti, written by Bijal Vachurjani and Rohan Chakravarti, and I recommend it to all because it's very interesting. It has many activities and keeps all the readers engaged with the funny and hilarious comics. Hi, my name is Nasir, and I.
Okay, that was Nasir. Let us listen to Adrit now. He has 2 recommendations.
Hello everybody, my name is Adrit. Today I would like to recommend some books that help me like and understand nature. First up is this encyclopedia of animals. It gives an overview of vertebrates and invertebrates. I used to read it when I was looking for more general information. But if you would like to see nature in a more scientific way, I would recommend Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. It provides an in-depth understanding of nature, such as how animals, species of animals originated from other species of animals, such as how man's best friend, the dog, originated from the mighty grey wolf, European grey wolf, and also how things that humans do today were actually replicated by less complex animals that existed way before humans. So the best book I could offer you and tell you to read is nature itself. It says more than what a person could write in a book. There's so much to explore, so much to look at, so much, and even more to explore and discover. Thank you.
Okay, so some really interesting recommendations from Adrit. And sorry, I missed. Yeah, so.
What are you singing? And stop walking immediately. Tammy had been humming a song from this ancient movie that Amni had forced her to see. It was about a nun who begins to take care of some brats and dresses them in similar clothes. Sing loudly so I can hear. Tammy decided the lyrics needed updating to suit the settings. Rubbish and roses and dust motes and kittens, dust flakes that stay on my golden eyelashes, silver white haziness that stays all along. These are a few of my unfavorite things. So I think I got a gist of what this book means, right? So this book is called A Cloud Called Bura by Bijal Vachurjani. And Bura in Hindi, means that it's bad. So, this book is all about how the climate changes, and in Mumbai the pollution is so much that a big brown cloud takes over the entire place. And it's about how 4 children try to stop climate change from happening in Mumbai. And so there are many people like Mota Bai, the very powerful politician, and what could he do in this situation. And it's about how two scientists named Vidisha and Vidisha can change the weather because they're powerful scientists, and what could they do in this climate change. And like that there are many scenarios, and there's this actor and there's this powerful cloud sucking machine, and could that suck up Bura? That is something you have to find out. Okay, so I recommend this book to everyone, basically everyone. It's also like how hardworking and endurance power is there in these traits.
Yeah, so a cloud called Bhura is already listed on GLF's long list. So I'm sure each one of you would love to. If you haven't yet read it, you can actually pick up and read the book and discover more. We have Mr. Singh was supposed to join the event. Unfortunately, he too could not make it, but he has sent a little message for all the children out there and anyone who's watching and listening. Mr. Singh, Ravi Singh is the Secretary General and CEO of WWF-India. He is an avid reader himself, and of course he has a huge collection of books in his library, and he has a little message for all of you that I would want you all to listen. So here it is.
Walk into a bookshop and you see that the number of books available from India, there are very few books that are there at different age levels for children. And over the years, over the last 10 years, I have seen this number being populated much more than before. Still, there's a lot of gap. So we have a long way to go, and therefore we need, there is a demand, but we need authors to come up and write about these things and write about their experiences and bring new areas of work and imagination to the core. Those of you who are starting to read or are immersed in the reading, I'd just say that in terms of wildlife and environment, it's actually the fictional part that starts you going, because you try and see things from the eyes of the author who sees it from the eyes of the animal or the wildlife or the elephant or the tiger or the bear. And this leads to other things, and it leads to the fun part of it, occupies your mind, and therefore you are able to be more creative. At the same time, the mind grows, and with this growth of the mind, you start reading more and more. My suggestion to all of you is, and including the authors, is that try and explain things through a journey. Reading a book is a journey in itself, and there are many lessons in this. There are authors who write about travel, and through those books, you are able to actually explore your country, to look at the Himalayas with a new eye, to understand nature and to see your historical monuments and the interaction of nature environment in our history and our tradition. So this aspect, learning through travel, which is by reading more, learning through books that take you to different places, not necessarily only India, learning about subjects that would be difficult for you to otherwise reach and understand outside your school or college curricula. These are important aspects. The example of I started reading early in my life, and somehow when I think it was in class 4, 5, and 6, the ability to read more started growing in me. And at one time, I remember, I read everything in sight. There were serious books in my house and school, so I couldn't go through them, but whatever was in my level, I read everything in sight. And when they finished and I didn't have any more, I tried to read them again, and I did in certain cases. And that habit has continued till today. I read a lot. I have access to books in the library of the India International Center and in my own office in the WWF. I've collected books over the years, and I can say that there is no end to this journey. And there's no end to the knowledge and the understanding that books inspire and lead you on to better and greater things. A few things I'd just like to talk to you. I think the importance of a person who writes for children, the author, try and learn and understand about him or her. They are very, very conscious, understanding people who understand the young mind and are able to, make a productive or contributive aspect in their writing. Ruskin Bond, I remember seeing him several times, in fact, in different events. But he, in one of the largest book fairs in the world in Delhi, he was constantly surrounded by children, and not just for his autograph, but also for the conversation and where he was, talking to them and their teachers and inspiring them to read and to think differently. I'm very happy about this Green Literature Festival. India has so many literature festivals all across the country. This was mentioned by Benedict. And the reason for that is that we are a voracious population as far as readership is concerned. We published over the years, we published great epics, and we've read them. We've read them again and again. And this is like an inner character of my country, and in a way is manifesting itself in the different literature festivals that are there. Then I'd like to just say one thing, and I'm sorry the messages are going out to the elder people or the grown-ups more than the children. I thought that one action from the Green Lit Festival would be to have a living list of books on the environment, wildlife, stories, and nature. A living list, which could be, populated through the year, would have a, there's nowhere you can go to one place where you have this kind of a list available. And some of us, we can have WWF access some of these books and actually have them ready in our different libraries across the country for people to access them. But a list is necessary.
So, Mr. Singh, who has been, the pillar behind, our publications division, it was his vision to start with, this particular vertical as a part of the environment education division, because he believes that, children must get started into reading more and more green books. So coming up next is an interesting quiz that Megha talked about, in the beginning of the session today. So I would want all of you to get ready for the quiz. May I request Megha to read out the responses from the chat box, because I may not be able to access them. So here you go. Are you all ready? Megha, I would just like to know if everyone's ready.
I don't get anybody's responses here, but I suppose they probably would be and ought to be ready. So,
okay. So shall we move on to the first question?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is, we've already been listening a lot about green literature. I hope by now people have begun to understand what green literature means. Here are some of the options. Is it a book? Are these books published on recycled paper? Or is it literature with a focus on nature and the environment? Is it prose and poetry about trees, or literature published with net zero carbon emissions? I would request my audience to put the answers in the chat, and I will wait for a couple of seconds for the answers to start pouring in before Megha picks up the correct one and lets me know.
Right. So, okay. So we have Supriya saying it's B, and Narmada also saying it's B, which is literature with a focus on nature and the end. Oh, okay. Amala is also B. So there's a whole lot of B's coming in for you, Neha. So many of them.
Indeed is right. Yeah, sorry. That indeed is the right answer, I think. So I'll reveal the answer a little before time. I will be careful with the next one, Megha. I'm sorry.
Sure. So let's get ready for question number 2.
Yes. So the next question, in which year or years were the books featured in the Green Lit Fest Honor List 2021 were published? Your options are 2018 and 19, 2020, 2019-20, or just 2019. Let
Okay,
I
so if
am.
you've been paying close attention to our social media, you ought to know this one. That's a big hint, but yeah. Why don't our audience take a guess on which year were these fabulous books? Narmada says 2018 and 2019.
Okay, let's
Supriya
have.
says, well, 2019, but she says I'm equivalent to that first row kid in class. Okay. Supriya, thank you for qualifying. Lots of people are saying A, which is 2018 and 2019. Neha, should we give them the answer?
I think so. Let's see what is the correct answer. It's
Oh,
actually
okay.
2019 and 2020.
Oh,
Right,
so
Megha?
yes, so I think this one, none of them got correct.
Yes.
But yes, these are books from 2019 and 2020.
Yes.
Yes, we can go
So,
to the
Megha, next year's honor list will be the publications from which year?
from 2021.
Okay, from 2021. All right. So, cool. The next question. Which of these books on the GLF honor list includes retellings of myths, legends, and folk tales about trees? Your options are Traveling Seeds by Lavanya Karthik, Cities and Canopies, Trees in Indian Cities by Harini Nagendra and Seema Mundoli, Tracing Roots by Malika Ravi Kumar, Aranyaka, Book of the Forest by Amrita Patil and Devdak Patnaik.
This one's
So,
tricky. This one's actually tricky
yes,
because one, I think you've got options from a lot of our
yes,
yeah, lists. Actually, these are from the long list and short list. But
yes,
yes, we already got answers coming in. Narmada Nayak says it's Tracing Roots. Mahi also says it's Tracing Roots. Shall we wait for one more answer before we do the grand reveal?
yes.
Anybody else? Okay, I can't see any more answers coming in, so maybe we should just tell them which book
Okay,
it is.
okay. So the answer is Tracing Roots by Malika Ravi Kumar. Those who haven't read the book should read this book. It's quite an interesting one. And happy reading. Moving on to the next question. Okay, now complete the title of this book about global warming. Your options are The Habitable Earth, The Uninhabitable Earth, The Future of Earth, or The History of Earth.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's either habitable or it is uninhabitable or it's future of or history of.
Yes.
So Amala says B, Saran says A, Supriya says B, Mahi says D. Oh, wow, lots of answers pouring in. Narmada says C. So Neha, maybe I think we have got one right answer so far. That's a hint.
Okay,
Maybe we should do it.
yes, yes. Okay, so the correct answer is The Uninhabitable Earth, Life After Warming by David Wallace Wells. So it's quite an interesting book that you must pick up if you are ready to sort of, explore what may happen in future. So yeah. Okay, now this book is again, listed for the Greenlit Festival this year. What is the name of the book? Your options are A Tigress Called Machli, A Cloud Called Bhura, The Grass Seeker, or The Animal Intimacies.
So if you actually watched yesterday's program, this one should be very easy.
Yep.
So, yes, Priya says D. Okay, lots of people saying A.
Okay.
No, yeah, Saransh, Anupama, and Mahi think it's a tigress called Machli. So
Okay.
Priya says it is D, Animal Intimacies. Johan says it's D.
Okay.
And Saransh says it's C. Narmada says it's D. Okay, so a whole lot of answers coming in.
Okay, so shall we reveal the correct answer?
Yes, absolutely. I think so. We should.
So the correct answer is Animal
Intimacy. It's a fabulous book. So it is in fact, it made our honor. It was one of the books that was honored in yesterday's festival. So please do go and check it out. Yes. Neha, do you have more questions for us? Okay.
Yes, just one last question where you can guess the books you think will make it to WWF India Children's Honor List. I know there is a competition already going on, but I want, as you can see, that the books are numbered from 1 to 10, and you can pick up 5 books that you think will make it to the Children's Honor List, GLF Children's Honor List. So I think so. I will have to give them a couple of seconds to.
Yeah,
Okay.
type in the answers. That's true. Okay, Saransh has already come in. 14865. So miracle, and then tracing roots, and then making friends with snakes, and then 6 is 10 Indian champions, and then 5 is the grass seeker. That's Saransh. Supriya says 10 should. Definitely should. I love it. A cloud called Bhura. Joanne says 1, that's miracle. On Sundarbag Street, the grass seeker, unearthed, an environmental history, making friends with snakes, and a cloud called Bhura.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we should have I can't.
What we will do is maybe a couple of you should also be. I'm looking at a couple of more responses, so we can tell who made all the guesses right.
Okay. So does anybody else want to take? Okay, Narmada says 1, 3, 4, 7. So miracle.
Those are 4.
And Grave Pyre School, and Tracing Roots, and Unearthed. And Nandini says Grave Pyre School, Tracing Roots. Okay. 6 is 10 Indian champions, and 9 is a tigress called Machli. Mahi says 10 Indian champions, Grave Pyre School, Tracing Roots, The Grass Seeker, The Miracle on Sundarbag Street, and Unearthed in Environmental History.
Megha, I would like to make a little announcement here. The first person who guesses all 5 books on the honor list right will get a surprise gift from WWF India.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So we're going to save the responses in the chat box to see who gets them all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Pooja. So yeah.
Okay, Saransh wants to try again. Saransh has changed.
Okay, no, I think we'll just wait because our panelists, our conversationalists for the next session are ready.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah, I think this was a really fun quiz, Neha. I'm so glad you chose to do this.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that this has been such a fun presentation. Thank you so much, Neha. It was so much fun and it was so engaging. And yes, I think none of us can wait to have the honor books out, which is going to be later in the evening.